everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to use my big girl voice today, my outdoor voice. So, show of hands, how many people are new and this is their first time here? Ooh, a lot of people. I was going to say, I saw a lot of new faces today, so I'm excited about that. Seeing as though you guys are new, I'll just start off with welcoming you to our little Caul group headquarters here and our All Access Pass Day. This day was created because we started to grow 5 years ago, and we had this really tiny little group of people. We had 7 Caul group people, and then we opened up our doors when we joined DXP, and we would just bring in 2 or 3 new agents a week, and we would just teach them. We would teach them everything we knew, and we never pitched them about our company, and then they just kind of started to join us, and this is what's happened. And now we have 1,500 of us throughout the nation. We actually have partners in Canada, Spain, and France now, which is really cool. So there's a lot of you online that we usually get 100, 200 people online. And of course we fill the room. What are we, 100 today? So, so for those of you that are new, we basically, as we started to grow, we have a lot of different leaders in this room, and they started to branch off doing their weekly trainings themselves, which was wonderful for me because every Friday at 11 o'clock, I would lead this for 3 years. So I was exhausted. So they gave me a nice little break, but then Ashley and Anna had an idea, hey, why don't we do this once a month and bring everyone together in one room, and we'll have an all access pass. So this is all access pass. And we're not professional speakers, but we just give back, and we have different people that speak every month. So if you are interested in speaking and you love doing it and you're a former coach or trainer, please reach out to Charity or myself, and we can put you on the schedule because we love to hear from different minds because that's where we all grow. So today, for my little presentation, for those of you that don't know me, I've been in the business 25 years, and I grew up in a family where entrepreneurialism was very prevalent. My dad had multiple businesses that failed over and over and over and over again. And what I learned from that was you just try things, and maybe they'll stick and maybe they won't. So I never had a fear. But when I started to grow my team, what I saw in the last 3-4 years is obviously we've been in a really good market. And so we've had the wind at our back, and a lot of us were good or better than we think that we are because I think the market has played into it. And now what I'm seeing as agents join our team is they want success to happen really quickly. And I think it's because we live in a day where you can literally click a button and Amazon has things on your doorstep in 5 minutes. I don't even know how they do it, but they do it. And so when I think about my goals and my dreams, everything to me, my coach always taught me, takes a decade. So think about that. Would you start something if you knew it's going to take a decade? A lot of people would be like, oh God, I don't have time for that. Well, you're going to be here anyway, so you may as well get good at something, right? Do you plan on being around in a decade? Yes. We hope, right? I hope every single one of us is here. So I think it's just this idea of I want it fast. And so I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, and I had this, this vision in my mind, and it was this mountain, and it was a picture of a mountain. And I started to think about the process of becoming, who you are and why you become who you are and what gets you there. And so for me, when I presented this to my team a couple months ago, we started to talk about it, and I started to think about how could I make this a presentation to deliver to other people, just to help them understand that it takes time. Anything you do, I don't care if you, become a great golfer or you want to be a physician, whatever it is, it usually takes about a decade to get good. But the big thing, who has heard what's your why? Okay, and what is our most common answer to what is your why? Our family, my kids, my parents, I want to say, that's like obvious. Going back before that too is my why is to survive. Like our brain it teaches us to survive. That's our primal energy is just survive and keep us out of trouble. And so when you think about survival is the first step, and then it's I want to take care of my family. But what's beyond that, and how and what is the driver of that? Because if everyone's why was so amazing, every single person would get what they want, and a lot of us don't, or we struggle with that idea. So I started to think about your life vision. Who is crafting your life vision? And when I think about vision, I think about something that I did myself in my early teens and 20s, is that every time I would lay down at night, I would close my eyes and I literally could picture things happening in my mind, what I wanted, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but a funny story is when I was 15 years old, I was born to immigrant parents. My dad has a very thick accent. He's a Greek man. And, he only knew that men marry women, they have kids, they support their women, the women stay home, they cook and clean, and that is the life that I grew up in. My mom was like, why don't you cook? I'm like, I just don't like it. So I was like the outsider in my family. So everything Greek, I just stayed away from. But when I was 15, my dad walked into my room. I remember I was sitting on my bed and he sat next to me, and with this really thick Greek accent, he said, Martina, that's my real name, by the way, Martina. You have to marry Tommy. You have to, be a good wife. And Tommy is rich. His family's rich. They have houses in Greece. They own restaurants. And he's a good man. And I'm like, first of all, he's 26. I'm 15. That's okay to a Greek man. You always want him young. And he was my boss. I was a bus girl, right? I was a hostess and a bus girl at a restaurant. So he was my boss, and it's creepy. And he was just way older than me. And I thought, hell no. Like literally, I was like, you are crazy. Am I adopted? Like, what is happening right now? And so I knew in that moment, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was crafting my vision. And my vision was literally that night that I wanted to marry an American man who was born in a family that didn't have foreigners in it, that was forward thinking, like I was not going to be a housewife. So I was imagining that man right there. Truly, I was imagining Kevin Caul. Because 1 year later, I met Kevin, and we've been together ever since we were 16. So it was that first moment that I was crafting my vision, and here's why I'm bringing it up. If you don't craft your vision, you might get Frank's vision. And imagine if I had followed my father's advice. He only was trying to protect me. He was trying to save his daughter to not be, we grew up kind of poor. And so he wanted a better life for me. So if I were weaker in that moment and trusted my father's gut, I would have been married to Tommy. And I'm sure he's a great guy now. So anyway, the point is, craft your vision. So I would write down on your paper tonight, like, what is my vision? Not my why. We know your why is to put your life vest or your mask on first. Have the oxygen first so you can help others. So yes, keep yourself safe. Help your family. But what is the vision? Like literally craft it out. I want to live here. I want to own these things. I want to fly this way. I want to address this, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be materialistic things. It can just be the freedom plan. You have to craft it out. So what is your vision? And then when we think about our vision, I want to go through the 6 P's that I call from process to purpose. How do we go through now this process of getting to our purpose? Because I think a lot of times when I talk to people, they're like, I just don't know if I'm passionate about this. I just don't know if this is my purpose. Who feels that way sometimes? Right? Even in real estate. Hey, Nikki. What is my purpose? I don't even know if this is the right job. And I think a lot of us are led in a wrong direction where we're trying to find our purpose and our passion first. And we don't realize that it just might grow when we get good at something. And that's what happened to me. I was not passionate about real estate. I didn't even know what real estate was. My realtor, Jill Bomarito, basically said, hey, you'd be good at this, when Kevin and I bought our first house. So I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not a salesperson. And she kind of chased me and then paid for my license. And I got thrown into real estate with no passion, no purpose. Just, I was kind of, a college dropout, and I needed to figure something out so I could make money. So when we look at this, I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to get back to this chart. The first thing I want to talk about is your process. So it's the first step in starting the journey to discover your calling or your passion. My first 7 years, I didn't have a process in my business at all. And then I met a magical fairy, and my friend Mike Ferry, and my life changed forever. He gave me a process to figure out real estate faster. And once I saw the process, I had direction. And my first emotion was excitement. Who was excited when they were thinking about getting their real estate license? Ooh, it's so exciting, right? And then all of a sudden, you have to learn the process, and you're like, wow, that's really hard. So then you have to have practice. And this is where you're embracing the mundane. This is where people hire real estate coaches, and they're frustrated and exhausted, and they're practicing scripts, and you got to remember too, if you're practicing the wrong things, awful practice is not good practice. You have to practice the right things. And so that's why being in rooms like this and having coaches and masterminds is key. So the practice part is the boring and the mundane part because you don't know how to do the thing that you want to do. The third thing that we talk about is patience in year 3 and 4. You have to have patience. So embracing repetitious boredom and knowing that time is not our enemy, impatience is. And again, we live in a society where I can click a button and get something. I can get in the car and get somewhere in 5 minutes. Think about how many times you've had road rage. You're like, get these people move faster. Imagine back in the day when you had to get in your horse and buggy. I mean, those people were patient, right? I mean, not like us. We could never live in those times because we're impatient now. We're an impatient society. So we want success to happen now. I want it now. I want it in a year. So keep that vision in front of you as you're working through that and just know that it does take time. And when you get into this level of patience, you're going to have a lot of distractions because what do we want when we're in patience mode? Excitement again, right? That's where you see people shift companies. I just need something different. I just need to join a new team. I need to join a new company. I need more excitement. I need that feeling that I got before because this is boring and I don't want to have patience through it. But what happens magically through the patience after years 3 and 4 is years 5, you start to have power. Why? Because you're finally feeling like you can do the thing. You can fly the plane, right? You're 4 and 5 in real estate. You're like, I think I got this. Even though there's times where you're like back to zero, you think you got it, but you're not easily shaken and you feel more empowered. And then finally, after 5 to 10 years, you get passion. And the passion comes when you can master something. When you're like, oh my God, I'm really good at my craft. I'm actually really good at this. And then eventually you find your purpose. And that's where Life Vest is on, mask is on, family's safe. I'm masterful in my craft. Okay, now I'm feeling a little more bored. What can I do with my life? And anytime I ask people, hey, if I could wipe out the idea of you having as much money as possibly known to man, you don't need money anymore. What would you do with your life? What do most people say? You had all the money in the world and you never had to worry about it. Travel, help others. What else? You have all the money in the world. What was that? Retire, yeah, and just do what garden all day. So every time I ask a person that question, 90% of the time, the answer goes back to I would help others. So innately, we want to just help people. We want to find our purpose. We want to wake up every morning and feel like we're doing something impactful. So I'm going to go back to this here. And again, this graph to me was to help you guys understand that, let's just say, I'm going to give you a quick story before my time is up. Jeff, you'll keep me on track? Got 8 more minutes before we learn about open houses. Think of golf. Who in here is a true golfer where they can score under 100? A real golfer. Real golfers, raise your hand. Well, Ashley, you're a liar. Not a real golfer. Okay. Who has tried playing golf, got so frustrated, and they were like, I'm never going to play this sport? A lot. It's awful, right? You pick up the club and you're like, I feel like a moron right now. And again, we want things fast. So Kevin asked me to play golf years and years ago. Well, I had one son. And I started to think about, again, vision. What do I want for the vision of my life? Well, we're not going to be shopping for dresses, most likely. And I'm not going to be doing hair and makeup with him, most likely. So if he's going to be a sporty guy, he's probably going to learn to play golf like his dad. And I'm going to be stuck at home for 5 or 6 hours on a Saturday while those two are bonding. Hell to the no. So Kevin bought me golf clubs, I think when Michael was 3. And I was like, I'm going to learn this sport. I have a vision. I have a purpose for this. So I started at process, excitement. I got my new golf clubs. I went and hired a coach. So year 1, he was teaching me how do you stand and how do you hold your arms and just the function of it, right? And so by year 2, all I was doing was practicing, but never could get the ball in the air, and I hated it. But every time I wanted to quit, what brought me back was the why. Why am I starting golf? Oh yeah, I want to play with Michael. I want to play with Kevin, and I want to get good at this because Michael had a golf club in his hand already at 4 years old. So it allowed me to keep the vision in front of me. You know how we have dream boards and vision boards? That vision was I will play golf with my son, and I can play this sport until I'm 75, hopefully, God willing. So year 2, you're in frustration because you're practicing. Year 3 is where I had to have patience. Okay, I can hit the ball some of the time. I see the vision. It gets in the air. Oh my God. I got to keep practicing, and I can't give up. And by year 3 is when most realtors give up. That's what I look at. They come in, they learn a process, they practice, and by year 3, they're like, it's not working. I'm just going to give up. And they give up right before that critical time frame. It's right before they're going to get confident. And so by year 4 of me playing golf, all of a sudden, 70–80% of the time, I was hitting the golf ball in the air, and I was like, no, I'm getting pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm not losing the whole bucket of balls every time I go out and play. That would be, look, honey, I had the same ball the whole round. Like, that was exciting to me. I didn't lose the ball. And so by my 5th or 6th year playing golf, and Kevin can attest to this, I just left the house and went and played golf by myself. I joined a league. I was like, I love this. The passion was there. Why? Because I figured out how all the mechanics go together. I had the process, I practiced, I had patience, I felt empowered, and now I'm passionate about the sport. But how could I be passionate about a sport that I don't know how to play? Does that make sense, you guys? And then finally, the purpose. And the purpose for me was, I want to play golf with my son, and now he'll be like, Mom, let's go play golf. And that is the best feeling, to spend 4 uninterrupted hours with a 17-year-old. Like, when does that happen? So you can really use this for anything in life. And I jokingly use this as an example, but Emily, one of our agents, she just had a baby. There's a process. You have to practice, which the guys in the room really like doing. You have to have patience, because sometimes it takes a year or 2 to have a baby, does it not? Sometimes 3, sometimes 4. And what's happened think of this. This is a perfect example. I have friends that they were not getting pregnant by years 3 and 4. And what did they go do? Adopt. And what happened a year later after the adoption? They got pregnant. Why? Because they were forcing, I need to control this, and just let it happen. And so then you feel empowered. You have this baby. You're like, oh my God, I'm a powerful human. I just gave birth to another human. And the passion then grows for this child. Like day 1, I didn't love my son like I love him now. And then finally you have purpose. You're a mother. So it's just, again, ingraining in you that this is going to take time. Real estate's going to take time. You want to grow a business at EXP and be a community builder? Guess what, Eric? That's going to take time. How long have you been in our community?
End of November last year, less than a year.
Less than a year, and you have how many people in your organization?
Our total organization, we have about 185.
185. I remember when I was there year 2, I think 2.5. So I'm 5 years, we have 1,500. It will happen, but it's a process. And then you will see that will grow, and you will be able to give purpose and passion to other people. So that's all I got. Any questions about this, or ahas, or thoughts? Because if not, I'm going to send
No, I think it's when I really look at it, the way it's broken down, because you do hit those years, and, I've been in the business now 18 years, and I think how many, 95% of people who are in business were at the same time are no longer
are gone. Yeah.
Are all gone.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is when that year 3 and 4, the patience, or really understanding that you're right there. And
right.
Most people then give up.
Correct.
When they were right there, and they give up and go back to something that they really didn't. Dave and I talk about this all the time, because we both came from kind of corporate America. And what do we always say about corporate America? We were just on a call yesterday with Dave, what do we say? Are you going back, Dave?
Going back to corporate America? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's something that we always talk about, because, when you hit that point of, are you really being patient enough for what you really want? So
right.
I totally agree, but I love the way this is broken down with the year 1 excitement, mastery. I mean, that to me is just a great chart for understanding the process of being in this business.
Yeah, or doing anything again.
Or doing anything.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. I got the idea of the mountain. We were at an event in Cabo, and Tony Robbins was speaking, and he said the first part of your life is climbing that mountain, right? Safety, getting to the top and going, okay, I'm here, now what?
Yeah.
And then there was a picture of him pulling someone else up the mountain. And for me, 24 years in business, this is my mountain that I get to be on, and it's fun to give back. It's fun to help people self-develop and just, think bigger in life. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for being here. And I'm more excited today, because you guys will get to meet really a lot of our Caul group organizational team. And so Jeff is one of those people. So I'll just give a quick introduction.
Sure.
Do you have an introduction for yourself? Okay, well, I'll just tell you what he does, then he can introduce himself. He's not shy. So Jeff joined us now just under a year ago.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks after Eric. I just found that out.
2 weeks after Eric. Okay, cool.
Really?
Were you here for that thing in December that I was at? There was
Yeah.
that was the first time I was in this building.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I met him at an Access event in New York, and we sat next to each other and are eating tacos, and you know, he was just telling me about he was a Tom Ferry coach, and he did, you know, fractional sales management. And I was like, oh, I think we need that. And so he came and did that for some of the top agents at our team, and then he was doing it for more agents, and then he was doing it for almost all of our agents, and then we started talking about him moving here, and now he lives here, and he's our sales manager for Caul Group, and Jessica, you'll get to meet her later.